This is Judge Joe Brown, and we're listening to We All Be News. News-free Dixie for the 21st century.
And welcome, Black family, to another wonderful edutainment edition of The Artivist Thinks. Today's show will be talking about what happened with the teen mob attack at the BP gas station in Memphis, Tennessee, my hometown. Now here's probably an interesting perspective that you have not heard about the BP station teen mob gas attack that concerned the victim, brother Orden Williams Jr. I would say this. I am very thankful and grateful that the brother was able to escape with his life. That he had, although he had some bruises to his upper body, that he was not damaged in his mind in terms of brain damage, serious injury, and that his family was protected with his fiance and his little toddler son and his 4-month-old baby. I'm glad that they were safe and were not, injured in this terrible situation. But here's the thing. I also am grateful that brother Williams Jr. Exercised restraint, that he didn't use his gun. Like he said, he had a gun in the car. He could have used his gun and could have made the situation that much worse. And also you think about the fact, you don't want to use your gun in a place like a gas station. First and foremost, it could have been a way greater tragedy than it is now. And I thank God that nobody got killed that day as it relates to that. And there's a couple things I want to talk about as it relates to that. Some things that, food for thought. I remember I talked to Judge Joe Brown recently on my show, the Honorable Judge Joe Brown of TV fame. And he told me, he said, it's 15% of what you say, 35% your tone, and 50% body language. Let me say it again. It's 15% of what you say, 35% your tone, or how you say it, and 50% your body language. So my question to brother Orden Williams Jr., not to take away from anything, I don't think he did anything that warranted such aggression by the young people. I want to know, how did he tell the young folks what he said? My thing is, when I look at the interviews he did live, as well as the written stuff that was provided to us by mainstream media, he told them to be quiet and get off the property and get off the premises. Now my thing is this. I can understand brother Williams being a good Samaritan and trying to help the old white lady, Sister Mary Fuller, to her car because she was afraid of all the young black people outside, which I think would be a very scary sight. But considering Memphis is a majority black town, she should be used to seeing black people. But at the same time, not getting on her as well. I want to know how he said what he said. I want to know if he cursed the kids out while he was saying what he said. I want to know what his body language was, his tone, and things of that nature. Did he scream what he said? Did he talk in a peaceful manner? Because this is the thing. I think it's the approach that he took that probably got him in the situation that he got into. Not saying it's right or wrong. Let's get beyond the morals and all this stuff. I'm just saying, just working with kids. From my background, I have worked with kids in Mississippi schools, in the Memphis city schools for several years. And I know a lot of times, like they said, it ain't what you do, it's the way that you do it. I have been in a situation where I have raised my voice at children, whether it be middle school, elementary, high school, whatever, and I did not get a favorable response. Now I never got my ass kicked. But kids today are very interesting than they were. Kids are different than what they were 30 years ago. Kids are different in terms of how they raise or not being raised. In terms of a lot of things, you don't really know what's going on with a kid. Like I had heard stories. Like I remember I was at a school and the vice principal was telling about this young lady. He talked about how she scored very high on her ACTs, but she having a problem, passing school. Because she don't come to class that much. And he told me a story. He said the reason why she don't come to class that much because she's the main breadwinner for her family. Like she actually strips. She was stripping at the time to support her family. I said, man, that's crazy. It's like a Lifetime movie. But he told me that was the case. She was stripping, but yet she was very intellectually gifted. But she chose to support her family. Cause I look at kids when they act crazy in class. Sometimes the reason why they might act the fool at the school is because that's the only place where they're allowed to be a kid. You know, you think about outside, you don't know what type of struggles they go through. You don't know what type of things going on at home, or if they have a home. Because there's a lot of kids out there that are homeless. They're going to school, and once they leave school, they have no place to go. They're homeless. So I'm not trying to make an excuse for the kids either. But also, you know, I think about the elderly black people who are terrorized in their neighborhoods by young people. You know, whether it be dealing drugs or whatever. I think about that as well. How many of us good Samaritans of color, you know, look out for our elderly people in these neighborhoods who are afraid to sit on their porch, who are afraid to come outside, you know, just enjoy the things a lot of us take for granted. So I think about that as well. So I could feel like, you know, they look at this guy, you know, he's escorting this elderly white woman. I'm not, you know, knocking that, but you can't help but have race in this issue be injected because we live in a racist society. So think about that. We live in a racist society, and you got a black man, you know, helping a white woman, like a scene from Driving Miss Daisy or something, right? And the kids probably say, this dude gonna do this, gonna disrespect us, and because this white lady, like he go out his way to help the white lady, but they probably think, who helping me? Not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just throwing stuff out there because I'm a thought provocateur. I like to get people to think about things outside the narrative. And what I didn't like about the mainstream news is that they're making these kids appear like they were grown men and women. Like, you know, I'll look at the news and say, these men were charged as adults. Or they're treating these men like teenagers or something. They're just flipping words. Like a lot of trickology going to play. Like what Brother Malcolm said so many years ago, the media is the most powerful force. The media is the most powerful force on earth. It can make your friends your enemy and your enemy your friend. But like how they're treating these young kids as if they were just seasoned criminals and crooks and whatnot. And people talked about how the white judge had the bail lowered for some of the people that were involved in this unfortunate incident. And people complain about that. But my thing is this, I mean, why are you going to send them to a place that's going to make them even worse than they are now? Because you don't send people to jail to rehabilitate them. You know, you send people to jail to punish them. But also, our prison system, our prison industrial complex is not about rehabbing or making people better people. It tends to make people bitter people. It tends to make people better criminals than humanitarians. The prison industrial complex in the country tend to make people better criminals than humanitarians. So why are we throwing our kids to the wolves? I remember I talked to a truant officer several years ago. I ain't gonna never forget this. He told me how, you know, every time they caught a kid and sent them to juvenile court here in Memphis, they got like $100 bonus. Once again, he told me every year, or every time they catch a kid, and send them down to juvenile court in Memphis, they got $100 bonus. That means while he's sending your kids to jail, he's saving money to send his kid to Yale. Once again, while he's sending your kid to jail, getting them bonus checks, he's saving them money to send his kid to Yale. So all that is modern day slave catching. So let you know what time it is with our people in this system, and why we can't keep on investing all this blood, sweat, and tears into a system that denies our humanity, that denies us justice, that denies us fairness, that denies us equality. So I'm thinking, like, you know, and then a lot of people say, well, these kids, you know, something should happen to them. I mean, these are our Frankensteins. You know, the adults, we're the Dr. Frankensteins. We produce these Frankensteins. We're scared of our own creation. We are afraid of our own creation. So I don't, you know, and then I'll say with Brother Williams, he should also think about, I would say, he should think about suing BP. Because when he tried to get back into the gas station, now the white woman, she was safely in a Suburban. She got into a Suburban. She was safe. But when he was trying to get back into the BP manager, I believe, on the videotape was holding the door shut. He would not allow this brother safe refuge. So this guy could have actually got beaten to death because the BP guy would not let him in or back into the store which is crazy. So I think that's a lawsuit right there, and maybe he should sue the school system, you know, because but now they were out of school when no incidents happened. But Northwest Prep is right by the gas station. I passed by that area. I know that area very well. It's popular in Cleveland. I know that area very well, and I use that BP at times. But it is a situation with our kids right now. You know, a lot of things, our kids are being demonized and criminalized by this apparatus known as white supremacy. And I think that now's the time for us to step it up, because to me, all that aggressiveness could really be used to great effect. I look at history. Brother named Clarence 13X, the founder of the 5 Percenters. Look at that history. When New York was having that youth problem back in the 60s, Clarence 13X founded the 5 Percenters. The 5 Percenters. That's some history that people should look into. Clarence 13X was a member of Mosque Number 7. That's the mosque in Harlem that was ran by none other than the great Malcolm X. So he was under the tutelage of Brother Malcolm X. Going to I don't know all the exact history from how he got suspended or something like that. He started the 5 Percenters. And Clarence 13X was a very charismatic brother. He was able to actually get the city of New York to invest in his youth programs. He was able to get kids, airplane tickets to fly to the Catskills. I mean, he was able to do this on Mayor Lindsay's. I think the mayor of New York at the time, dime. I mean, they'll give him money to control and develop the kids. And then Clarence 13X was assassinated. So people don't talk about that. They don't talk about Clarence 13X and the things he was able to do with the 5% nation. So that's something that we should look into. I'm thinking about solution alternatives, but one solution alternative I don't believe in is demonizing and criminalizing these youths. I think about the actor Mark Wahlberg. You think about, he's highly successful Hollywood actor, movie producer. He's trying to get a pardon now for the things he done as a teenager, as a youth. Your brain is not fully developed till you're 26 years old. So your decision-making capabilities at that age is really suspect at the best. So if Mark Wahlberg, or Marky Mark, whatever, could turn his life around and want a pardon, a lot of these kids could turn their life around. Now, what if these kids have been a bunch of white kids doing this? Let's say the University of Kentucky. You see my point? And what if the black kids attack a white person like this in Ferguson? Now, in Ferguson. This past summer. There's so many things. I'm not trying to flip it out. People say, well, why did I be about race? Because it's always about race when you're dealing in a white supremacist, racist system. Regardless of what the issue is, it's always about race. Because it's funny how a lot of times I hear black folks say, well, the person who killed all them people, I hope they ain't black. But I hope the victim was a black or somebody. I hope nobody does those type of things. I don't care what color they supposedly are. Nobody should be in the business of dehumanizing and terrorizing people. Nobody should be in that business. So that's my 2 cents on that situation. If you like what you heard, feel free to respond in the comment section. Feel free to subscribe. Feel free to donate to We All Be, because we're in the process of raising money to upgrade the mission, and we'll have some videos to talk about that in the very near future. But in the words of the late great Duke Ellington, we love you all madly. Keep on producing and pushing and thinking.